When's the time?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been really patient. We've got one last visioning group, ag and the environment. So let's bring ag and the environment up. One last visioning group.
So before we start, I just want to say that this process was a collaborative effort. There were several of us that spent countless hours. There were many visioning groups and there were subcommittees, and a lot of us were in multiple visioning groups. And that's because there's a lot of overlap on a lot of these visioning groups and a lot of the ideas. So keep that in mind. That's kind of where we are. This is especially true with the agriculture environment group. There's a lot of our goals that overlap with all the other groups. So this is our preamble, and it basically sums up, it's kind of like an introduction on what we believed and what was important to all of us and what we think is important to the community. We came up with you'll see two phrases that are constantly repeated: eat and grown, and all wealth comes from the land. Those are things to consider in the back of your mind throughout our whole visioning group. Farming, gardening, and ranching are an important part of the heritage of the Eden area and continue to contribute significantly to the county's environment, economy, and community. Various forms of agriculture have different needs that need to be met with policies, programs, and regulations to avoid negative impacts on agricultural operations. Public outreach, education, and environmental stewardship will maintain agriculture in both urban and rural areas while improving and strengthening the agricultural foundation of our community to provide a healthy environment. We recognize the difference between open space and undeveloped agricultural lands that both provide critical wildlife habitat and visual resources for the Eden area. Our goal is to foster and promote the positive impacts that strengthen the economic benefits and sustainability of agriculture. Through these efforts, the county will drive investments to enhance our communities, improve the environment, and contribute to the value of important open space. So I'm going to yield to Chuck now. He's going to talk about
Hi, my name is Chuck Moore. I'm a local rancher, matter of fact, a horse rancher. We don't eat them, we ride them, so don't get confused. You know, a lot of people wonder how big is the Eden area in the agricultural community. This area right here that's shaded is all Eden agriculture. It's over 75,000 acres of agricultural land is privately owned. The other areas are park areas, which are pretty much open space areas. And we really wanted to emphasize there is a difference between agriculture and open space. You know, agriculture, we have to make a buck on the property. We generate jobs, we generate revenue for the community, and we also generate food, which is very, very important. I don't think anybody thinks that you're going to tear down a subdivision and build a farm. It just doesn't happen. So we need to protect what we have already and not let it fall into the hands of developers and so on like that. So it's important that we look at that map and recognize that's what we want to keep, but we want to keep it live as agriculture. Our goal in our group, we have three goals, and our number one goal is to identify, promote, and protect the Eden area's unique agricultural potential. Do you know we have 3 wineries in the area? We have cattle ranchers in the area, and one thing I really want to emphasize is that we as agricultural folks are the minority. We have the majority of the land, but we're the minority of the votes. So how you feel about things and the way you vote at the ballot box really impacts us significantly. So anyway, and I wanted to emphasize, and the group did, that Nate Miley and has been a huge supporter of agriculture and really getting behind it and trying to understand it and work with us on making it better. Nothing's going to happen in our community without the support of our supervisors and the funds that we need to do it and regulations and so on like that. So, and one thing that Nate did that's really important, last year Nate took a busload of kids from the inner city and brought them out to the ranch. Most of those kids never saw a horse live or petted one. And it was a huge learning experience for them. And I feel terrible that the ranchers are not more involved in the community and getting behind us, because we really need to educate our young people on our rich heritage of agriculture. This is a local rancher. This is Rex Warren's place. And believe it or not, we have farms here in our community. You know, Fairview's got some farms. There's an avocado farm in Fairview. It's not developed 100% where the avocados are producing yet, but there's a ton of avocados there. Local fruit and local vegetables are grown in our area, and Peter's going to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities there with some of the empty lots and so on.
So one of the things that we discussed was that the county needs to provide educational opportunities for growing, preparing, and selling local food products, including cottage food products. There's a need for a network between small businesses, growers, and cottage industry people. These value-added producers would benefit from trading, networking, and collaborating together. There's existing sites such as Windmill Farms in San Ramon, Dig Deep Farms, National Cherryland, and Eden Urban Farms in Cherryland that are examples that can be duplicated and encouraged in the Eden area. These are businesses that make money, that generate jobs, and that are helpful to the community.
I just want to comment on some of the horse pieces of business dear to my heart. We have a great rodeo ground in our community, and there are programs out there to educate these young people called 4-H, FFA, and we have the property on site here in our community to help these young people learn a lot more about what's going on in our ag community. So I would like to see us utilize places like Row Ranch. We could have cutting horse shows there. They provide jobs, you get vendors and everything that come in for that. So, I mean, we really need to go out and try to find people to come in and put these shows on, because it would create more jobs in our community, and certainly I think it would be, if you go down to Palm Springs every year, they have a horse show that lasts 3 weeks. You know how much money that generates for that community? It's unbelievable.
Thanks, Chuck. So goal number 2 is provide educational opportunities in the school system and surrounding communities about agriculture, farming, ranching, and equestrian, while seeking park and open space opportunities in their urban built-out environment. In a community with limited jobs and a recession economy, agriculture provides training and employment in an ever-challenged food system that fails to provide adequate nourishment for everyone. Agriculture enterprise, cottage food industry is lucrative, allowing for personal initiative and hard work to succeed with independent small businesses and farms. All people need healthy food. Demand is increasing, local food systems and related enterprise builds local economies of scale, adding jobs, generates revenue, keeps capital circulating close to home. So to build on what Chuck was saying, the FFA and 4-H, those are well known, but there's more we can do. So here's an example of an open lot that the county owns that was redevelopment land. AB 551 was passed by the state of California last month. This bill authorizes tax breaks for landowners who lend and rent the property to urban farms. The state of California recognizes that not only will this create valuable space on urban farms in need, but will also become an economic stimulant for underused areas. This will help to clean up blighted properties that are usually fenced off and dumping grounds. It will eliminate crime magnets, and it will improve the look and feel of the community. Surrounding businesses will benefit from this program as well. Their foot traffic and property values will go up, and as this happens, additional revenues will increase, and the county will get the money back and more. So this is Windmill Farms in San Ramon. This is an example of a property that something could happen like this. 3 families survive on just this one farm, or this one.
It's a produce stand.
Yeah.
And you can do that in Charrette.
It's a produce stand, and we can easily do that in Cherryland, in Ashland, San Lorenzo.
That's my wife. She just left. She voted though. Anyway, we have over 5,000 horses in this county. And the state now has recognized the equestrian piece of the business as agriculture. Up until last year, we were not recognized as agriculture. So, I mean, if you go down Crow Canyon, there's a lot of ranches down here that really keep the space open because, you know, and keep it away from development. But we have to figure out ways for these folks to continue to operate, to keep those developers out. Nothing against developers, it's okay in some areas, but not in our ag space.
So here's a picture of Coal Canyon. And I'm going to get back to this. I think you guys all know about this. So one of our things where we were talking about advocating for infill and pocket parks, and here's a picture of the Dodgers building in Castro Valley. I'm pretty sure you guys know about that. These are 2 big examples that are pretty obvious. I just wanted to get them out there. And our third goal is environmental issues from climate change to water conservation and energy efficiency that impact our health and well-being and should have a priority. This is where the governance overlap would be. Policy needs to be kept modern and relevant to a changing community and a changing world. Agriculture and environment are first-level priorities worldwide. Change can be effected at a local level. Policy and governance for quality of life in a community or region must address basic needs such as food, shelter, personal safety, and livelihood. All politics is local. An obvious recent example for our local community feeling abandoned by our government services is Coal Canyon Lake. This site was originally conceived as a recreation area for the community and is being wasted with little explanation from the county. If they're going to let it become a meadow, we need to ensure that it becomes a recreational space for the community. Picnic tables, landscaping, and outdoor space should be assigned for community use. The community should feel reassured that the county will ensure the creation, not the loss of valuable open space. There needs to be a public policy program in place to address ongoing maintenance issues in existing parks that are not part of HARD. I'm going to zip through some of this. Thanks. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was mentioned. I'm really glad that Public Safety talked about my hometown. The Tri-Valley area has an operation, My Hometown, which is a collaboration between the Tri-Valley ROP and the Deputy Sheriff. As a result of this program, people learn valuable skills, become assets in their community, and it reduces the recidivism rate. A program like this could easily be developed for the Eaton area that would contribute to public safety, economic, and education. And then you can just look through some pictures. So these are our 3 goals. We will be outside. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. We had a great group. I was very fortunate to have 9 people that were intimately involved in all the process with us. Almost all of them attended all of our subcommittee meetings. Everyone is directly involved. We're all familiar with the material. But once again, keep in mind that the agriculture environment goals overlap with all the other goals. So thanks.